What's happening, guys? I'm Dan. Welcome back to the channel. Today it's a cool day in northern Michigan. I thought this was the perfect time before summer takes off to review the 2020 Dark Lord from Three Floyds out of Munster, Indiana. This is only available once a year. You have to go directly to their tap room to get it. I went to Dark Lord Day this last May and I was able to pick up a few different bottles. I have two of this version, so I thought I would review it for you guys. I've never reviewed Dark Lord, and other than on May 18th this year, I had never tasted Dark Lord. It's still really hard to come by. They don't distribute it. You have to know somebody. You have to be able to trade to get it. It's expensive on the secondary market. And this really wasn't very cheap either. I had to get it in a mixed mystery pack, and I happened to get two of them. I got a couple other good ones that I'd really like to share with some friends and family. But this one, guys, I thought was fun to review with you guys because I've never done it. So it's time to investigate the 2020 Dark Lord, and here it is based on the wax. I had to look it up. The black wax is the 2020 version. That's how they decipher which is which based on the wax color. So it really doesn't say much. It's just the Dark Lord, guys, the infamous Dark Lord. I kind of had to look up the information because I think they're all usually around the same ABV, but this is 15%. And then I got thinking about it. Is this barrel aged? I actually don't know the answer. I think it's just a Russian Imperial Stout. I actually thought it was for certain barrel aged, but I guess I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not going to do any more investigating because I've never actually watched a review about Dark Lord. I don't like doing that before I review, to be completely honest. I've done it with other reviews, but it's very rare that I do so. So I really don't know a ton about this. The only thing I've ever heard about Dark Lord is that it comes across as soy saucy. Like, I've had several people say that and talk about it. Will that happen today? I don't know. The ones that I had on Dark Lord Day at Munster, Indiana was, there's 6-7 different versions, different variants. It's hard to even remember the ones I had. They were chilled. This is not chilled. It has traveled a great distance to get to northern Michigan. Is this compromised? Is it oxidized? We don't know. We're going to investigate. Let's check this out, guys. So I hope you guys are doing very well today, and we're going to try to get this popped off the top. I actually might have a hard time because this wax. Oh, I got it. I had to really grip the wax. I didn't think I was going to get that on the first take. I thought I was going to stop the video. So I do have the official glassware in a little snifter, if you will, little whiskey glass that my brother-in-law bought, and he gave one to me. So shout out to Corey Frost, man, the legend. He went with me to Dark Lord Day. So as I pour this, not completely black. It's got a tinge of brown in it. It's not completely like motor oil, but as it fills up the glass, it certainly starts to look like midnight motor oil. And I don't know why I'm opening this and reviewing it now, guys. I'm going to be honest. It's crazy because I got this big bomber and I'm home alone. What am I going to do with all this? So this should be a fun one. Again, not chilled at all. It's room temperature. And we have actually a thinner body as I poured it than maybe I would have originally thought. Brown tinge on the exterior of the liquid, aka around the rim of the glass. Dissipated very, very, very quickly. 15%. This is no slouch of a beer. This is nothing to be messed with. It looks ridiculous. It's 4 years old. Let's investigate. Let's get an aroma. Oh, man. So, first impressions. I know that other people have talked about this. I feel like it's talked about all the time. This actually does come across like soy sauce. It's got that sweet, weird, oily slickness that just comes across as a sweet soy sauce. Like you get your sushi and then you have your soy sauce, that salty kind of weird funk next to it. And that does come to mind, unfortunately. I wish it didn't, but I don't feel like I got that on Dark Lord Day. But I'm getting it right now out of this bottle. A little bit soy saucy. It's got a little bit of molasses, a little bit of roasted malts. But man, I'm kind of discouraged and I'm unhappy right now because I was hoping that was just kind of a facade, not real, some sort of mirage that's just coming to mind. Like, there's no way it's going to smell like soy sauce. It freaking does. I'm kind of upset right now. I don't know that is a very attractive smell. I don't know how I feel about this. And it smells kind of like earthy, funky, just soil and soy sauce. and molasses. I don't know if that's very good descriptors, but that's what I'm getting right now. Let's dive in. The 2020 Dark Lord. Oh, Lord, please help us. No pun intended. Cheers. So thank goodness it's not quite as bad on the mouthfeel. But there is a sweeter complex to this beer. It's got like this kind of ritzy, sweeter chocolate quality. It's very sweet compared to maybe where I wanted it to be. It's not as roasty as I want. To drive this beer to 15% is ridiculous. So I'm sure there's a lot of malt driven into this beer. And it is, of course, attracting the sweetness. It's left with that residual sweetness on the mouthfeel. Thick beer, but not as thick as I would have also imagined at 15%. Comes across as a upper medium, low heavy mouthfeel. And if I'm not mistaken, there's some Mexican kind of chocolatey, hot chocolate action going on in here. I am still getting that. It's maybe not as chocolatey and full as I would have imagined, but it's still got that kind of almost cinnamon, vanilla, sweet chocolate, baker's chocolate kind of residual sweetness that's really, it's holding on to the palate pretty well, gripping your palate. There is just, again, this like honey sweet molasses in here. Small roasted malts, kind of overshadowed by that sweet chocolate, honey, vanilla thing. Is this too old? Has this seen better days? It's potentially true, because I remember really enjoying the colder, newer versions on tap at Three Floyds. This seems like just maybe it's seen a little bit better days in its past. I don't know how good the year 2020 was. That was the C word year. I don't know if things were just kind of crazy that year to begin with. But they always differ, year to year a little bit. A little bit of brown sugar, a little bit of like Hershey syrup. This is definitely a sweeter beer. It finishes lighter than it could for 15%. It feels good on the palate. It's kind of buttery and smooth, slightly creamy for a moment. Not like oatmeal stoutish, but it's approaching that for being 15%. And there is a small bit of alcohol warming on the back end. That's very impressive. 15% doesn't feel like it. It's smoother than 15%. It's easier to drink at 15%. It's kind of actually just a joy of sweetness. It really is. It's almost like there's almost like a little nutty almond joy in here too. A little bit of a touch of dark fruit, but not a ton. I mean, it seems like some of the other things this maybe once would have showcased isn't popping out as much anymore, just based on other things I've tasted last month or the month prior in May, last month. A little bit of raisin, definitely a little bit of plum, small bit of tobacco, soily tobacco, a touch of leather. And as I drink it, my palate's kind of adjusting. The sweetness it's not hitting me as hard. It's not as overly cloyingly sweet as maybe my first two sips were. That soy sauce thing definitely dissipating. Definitely got it on the nose though, 100%. But it's just a fun beer to kind of sit down and investigate and evaluate with you guys. I wish somebody else could tell me what they thought of this beer. Maybe you can if you've had it in the comment section below. Please let me know what you thought of this. Have you had the 2020? And if so, what did you think? And maybe some other years differed from this one in a good way or a bad way. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Again, brown sugary, cinnamony, vanilla kind of touch, earthy, soily, almost saltiness. It's got some of that soy sauce quality, but it's the last thing on my mind. Raisins, plums, a nice combination of dark fruit, just playing into the subtle sweetness that does eventually take over the palate. So it's not subtle; it's more than subtle sweet. It's got it. So what do I think of this? It's still really freaking good. It's really good. I think I'd prefer this fresh, to be honest, and I don't know how good this year was as a whole. But from an Imperial Stout standpoint, very good. I don't know how it could drink any better at 15%. It's absurdly drinkable, absurdly smooth, and easy to put down. So where do I rank this beer? Is it like the greatest of all time? I don't think so. I don't think it is, at least not the 2020. I'm not like overly impressed. Maybe I prefer more roasty goodness. Like I feel like Founders has done a better Imperial Stout. Maybe not as high in the alcohol, so for that, this is very impressive. But maybe this has just seen better days than it once did. So, yeah, cool. I just realized there's film over it, so I'll take that off. And guys, I think I'm just going to rank this a very solid 4.25. The drinkability is off the charts, and it's got some nice complexities that maybe have faded a little bit. I'm looking for a little bit more roast and char to this beer. And it's bringing a little bit more sweetness than my palate prefers. So 4.25 out of 5. It was the 2020 Dark Lord. Thank you so much for being here, guys. And until next time, Prost, cheers, Yamas. Say whatever you want to say, and drink whatever you want to drink. Make sure it's good.